September 28th, 2012 on WX Live, and we have Ben Dell here to show us some cool stuff about web services. And so with no further ado, Ben, you there? I'm going to open up your screen. Make sure you sign up for WX DevCon 2012 if you haven't already. And well, let's go. How about that?
Okay, is that it?
Yeah, let's see if I can make it bigger. Let's see if I can make it bigger. Move the people off of here. So, all right. I'm just going to leave the little chat open, but
Okay.
I can make it as big as I can. There we go.
Okay. Unfortunately, I need a bit of a biggish screen. If you
No, it looks good.
Compress your.
It looks great.
Yeah, if you compress your vertical below 1024, then it actually squashes up. Then you've got to scroll all over the place with the IDE. So, okay, let's start this. As some of you know, I'm very involved in converting Clarion applications to WINDEV, WinDev mobile applications. And obviously the stuff needs to talk to each other. And some are running on HyperSQL, some are running on TPS. One of our bigger projects currently, we've already converted the server part to WinDev and services. And we're also now creating a SOAP server where our Clarion clients can talk directly to the SOAP server. So what I'm going to do today is show how easy it is to generate a SOAP service with WinDev. So we're going to open WinDev and we're going to go and create for ourselves a new project. And the project, I'm going to just create a project here and I'm call it WX SOAP. And we're going to create a web service. In this instance, the web service is going to run on Internet Information Server, sitting on a local server here with us. I'm not going to use source code management and I'm not going to use a programming charter for now. And I am going to use an existing database because I've already got a database on my server, and I'm going to quickly use my accounting systems database. And there we have created our project for generating a SOAP service. What I can do now, I can compile this project and it will generate a SOAP service for us which we can upload, but there's obviously going to be no methods to call. So the first thing we need to do is create a few methods which can be called from a client. Now the way that you do it with a SOAP server is you go and you create them as global procedures. So the first thing we need to do is create a new set of global procedures, and I will just comment this and say my SOAP server global procedures. That then gives us an entry point against which we can create all our SOAP procedures. Now let's say I want my client to get a list of customers which is in my database. So one of the procedures I will go and create is called retrieve customer list. And it's a global procedure. Now I can call this SOAP interface with or without parameters. Firstly, let's do it, let's say with a parameter, and we're going to pass a parameter called the customer name. So what we're going to say is we want in our dictionary, where's our dictionary? Let me just view this here. This, sorry. Toolbars, panes, analysis. Okay. So we've got a dictionary here, and we're going to look up customers, and there's our customer. So what we will say is hread seek first.
Just so you know, there's a little delay when we see your screen, okay? Ben.
Okay, I will try and keep that in mind. Okay, so we're going to look up a customer from our customer table, and let's say description and p customer name. Okay, so one of the things which I will like to do is if length customer name is greater than 0. So if we've received a customer name as part of the SOAP service, then we will do a lookup. Okay, else, and let's say we're going to do something. Now, obviously, SOAP procedure needs to return something, so we're going to create a return value. And I normally create a return value and prime it with a value false. Whenever the value false gets returned from every SOAP method that's called, you know that there was an error somewhere along the line, else it retrieves some information for you. So let's do this, and let's say what I want to do is return value equals customers dot let's call it customer ID. Okay, and then what we will do is result return value. Okay, so if we quickly go through this, we've got a SOAP method which can be called with a parameter. We prime a return value. And then we've got some programmed logic, and then we return a value. Okay, so that is a SOAP service. In its shortest form, that is a SOAP service. Okay, now we've got a few other issues to deal with. And the first issue is, which database does this SOAP server connect to? And we need to keep something else in mind, that a SOAP server is stateless. Between one call and the next call, there are no information saved. Normally, there's a way around it. There is some WINDEV ways of saving header information, but we're not going to address this. At the end of the day, what you've got a code for is a stateless situation where there's nothing between one call and the next call. So within our procedure, one of the things we need to do is to connect to our database. Okay, and here I'm going to cheat a bit and pull up a connection which I've already done for my system on a different one.
So you got to connect every time.
You've got to connect every time. And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to actually take that connection and create a standard connection. Okay. So if we do this, okay, so we're going to describe a connection, and we're going to say this connection is something. Now let me quickly pull up a different program, and I'm just going to use a connection which is already described. Open a project, and we're working with the Quattro accounting system, so I'm going to pull up the connection for the Quattro accounting system. Okay, table, data sources, and there are our data sources. Okay. Okay, so we're going to create a connection, and let's call this connection come on, WX soap connection, and we are going to create a connection to a specific server, and that server has got users and passwords, and I'm going to use this here. And we're going to use that, and it's called admin, and the password I'm going to fill in just now offline, and the data source is called Quattro accounting, and the okay, so Quattro accounting, and what else do we need? Oh, we need to supply the server. It's 192.168.1.50, and then also we need to tell it what type of server it is, and in our instance it's a normal hyperfile server. Okay, and what then we're going to do is we're going to say we're going to open that connection for that WX soap, and then we're going to do a change connection. And very few people realize that this is the source of a lot of their problems which they have, and I'm going to get to that now. WX soap. A lot of people come to me and say, listen, I've got a default database set up in my analysis, but when I'm on my website or I'm on my mobile device or I'm on my Windows application, I open a connection to my database, but it doesn't connect to it. And most often, people forget to actually change their connection. So what we're doing here is we're saying all our tables. So if you look at that in more detail, you will see it's a star in there. So we say star, comma, WX So we change our connection for all our tables to our described connection. Okay. And that is something this. Connecting to our database is something that needs to happen within every procedure that is called externally. And then obviously let's go and create something for this, and let's do it like this and say create a global procedure, and we will call that connect to database. Okay, so there we've got a call named connect to database, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this offline here quickly. And take it back there. So our connect to database is set up. So what we're doing is in our procedure we've got our return value set up. We are connecting to our database. We're doing some programming logic, and then we will return a value. And let's compile this and distribute this. Now, one of the things we will do here is we will generate a web service, because that's what we told it we want to do. Okay, so let's go ahead and generate a web service, and it's going to include my global procedures for me, and the accessible elements.
So to test this, you got to run it through some kind of debug to know what it's giving you, right?
Well, we are getting to that. That is a very nice part of it.
Really? Cool.
I'm gonna send this to a WebDev application server, and I've got an application server set up. I'm not going to use any of their stuff. And I'm going to quickly import one which I've already got set up. So in I'm going to open that one, and I can test the parameters. Parameters are all valid, and the deployment names, everything I'm going to deploy. Just click next, and it will upload my service for me.
Where do you click? Where did you click on this wizard to set up? Is that when you were saving it or running it, or what?
There at the top, where my mouse is now. On the left-hand side of the first go.
Got it.
Okay. So what we've got then is it uploads everything for us, and just give me 10 seconds, please. Thank you.
Oh yeah. If you guys have any questions, you can type it on the chat down at the bottom right corner, and then I'll make sure you hit it.
Okay, so we've uploaded our SOAP server to our ISS, and we can run a test by clicking on that link, and we can get the WSDL, which it's created for us by clicking on that link. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this.
So Ben, you can just copy this to any web hosting, right? Just have it available via a link.
Anything which you want to upload it to. Okay, so what I've done now is I've clicked on that link, that first one, which is index.html, and it's actually now given me my methods which is in my application, and obviously I've got to hide that one because I don't want that one available here. And there's retrieve customer list. If I want to look at the WSDL, which is an industry standard, it's created, I can actually go and look, and it's automatically created this for me. Now other development environments pull this file in and generate the code, as well as WINDEV can also pull this file in from a client viewpoint and generate all your objects for you. So and then the best thing about this is if I click on that, I can actually add something in here and run a test on my website. So let's put there AA, and that is what happened. So in this instance, it's bringing back a call to say no file. Okay, so there's a problem with me logging into my system, but it actually pulled the call through to me. So let's go back to our code. And I'm just gonna look at the code here, and I think my password to log into my system is wrong. Quattro comes release. Okay, so I'm gonna just use the accounts. I'll have to just change the password when I'm done here.
So this testing automatically got created that you can use to test, huh?
Yes, it automatically created a whole procedure with which you can test the system. So let's go back there and
You're making it look too easy.
Go and update
You're making
this.
it look too easy.
Well, it is easy. That's the problem. The problem is it is so easy. Okay, unless it doesn't work. Okay, and no analysis open. Okay, let's see what's definitely inside there. And this is where the little part comes from. Okay, so we're gonna create connect to database. That is there. Open the connection. Change the connection. There's a admin connection. I will change that password, don't worry about it. Change the connection, and our connection is open. Okay, so let's retrieve something. Let's get something back first without connecting to a database. Okay, so we're gonna do this, and let's take it step by step. and we're gonna, and this is why it's 2 hours. We're gonna first do that. So let's take it step by step, because everybody else is also going to sit with the same type of issues, and we need to get a way to determine where the issue are. Is it with the connection of the database? Is it with the actual SOAP server? Okay, so we get the server, retrieve customer list, just add something, and we should get something back, and it's called false.
Well, remember your screen.
Okay, and that's what we
Just remember your screen is going. It's delayed on our side.
Okay, okay, okay. So what we've got the SOAP server, the method, and we set the return value to false, and we return the value. And in our website, we've got the service, we're going to test it, and it returns a value back to us as false. Just tell me when you see that screen.
Okay, we see the.
Okay, so we know our web server works. Our SOAP server works, and we can call the method and it returns a value. Now the problem is getting connected to the database. So let's do that. Let's connect to our database. And then what we will do is we will return, okay, is connected equals is boolean equals connect to database, and we change our database, and we will result this open. Okay, so what we will then do is if result return value equals result. And let's just check the logic of this. We say connect our database. So H open connection, true if the operation was performed, false if an error occurred. Okay, so what we're looking at here is if is connected, true, we have a connection. Our return value is the connected value, else obviously we will still return false. So let's update that. And we will return that, and we have a connection to our database. Can you see that? Hello? Okay. Hello? Okay, it seems like I'm still online. Okay, so we've got a connection to our database. Now, what we want to do is we want to do some programmed logic. So we will do some program logic, and then what we will say is if that's greater than that, we will do that, and we will return that. And After that, we will do a return value.
Sorry, I had a phone call, Ben, so I had to step away.
Not a problem. Not a problem. So let's upload that. Okay, and I'm gonna call that page, but before I run it, just want to connect to the actual database and make sure that we've got something in there that we can use. No, not that one, that one. So I'm just going to go and create a record quickly, which we can call. So we've determined now, firstly, we can connect to the web service. Then secondly, that one. Secondly, we've determined that we can connect to the database. And now thirdly, we need to make sure that we can actually connect to a table in the database. So that's the reason. That's the reason why we can't connect, because I've got the database name wrong. Okay, but let's go and create a customer here. Let's make a Let's go and create a customer on this database. Nope, that one doesn't work. Okay, let's see here. Customers, there. Okay, let's call that one. Oops, sorry, now I forgot to take the name of the database. And obviously we can pass these names into the SOAP server from an ini file. So we aren't hard coded in what we are doing. So let's look at ribbons systems. Okay, we go to our database, ribbons systems. Okay, so let's go and create that. Okay, retrieve a customer list and then city tech. Okay, I've got a bit of an issue here. If we could bear with me for a while. Customers, and we go and we go and look at our databases, and I'm going to look at the rights on there. And I'm just going to go and change this to a new user, which I'm going to create here. Okay, so let's go and create a new user, and we go and create him and call him SOAP, and the password is SOAP, and confirm the password SOAP. And in this instance, for this demonstrations, we will give him full access. We go to ribbon systems, we go to SOAP, and we need to give him the rights. Okay, so we will give him a few rights.
Well, too bad there's not just one check mark on the top.
I'm sure there is. I haven't had time to go and actually find it, but I think there is, where you can do this.
Like do them all, then take out the ones you don't want or something.
Yes, yes, but it's like using another one, and then working with that. Okay, so let's see there.
Andy says there is a set up a group, then assign the group.
Yes, yeah, I just haven't gotten to it yet. Okay, I'm sitting with a problem here which has got nothing to do with SOAP servers. It's that I'm not connecting to my database correctly. And this is very frustrating. Let's try a different table. Unless somebody else, Andy, as
Andy,
anybody
do you have
else
any suggestions for Ben to? You still have the mic if you want to kind of go, and we'll just won't talk when you talk. What's the error?
Andy?
Andy, the error is we can't connect to the database. I have 4 people in the office. Mike won't be good. Okay. But anyway, the problem is we can't connect to the database. Go ahead.
Yes. The problem is not that the SOAP server is not working. It's that for some stupid reason I didn't check to see that I can connect to any of those databases. Okay, let's do this. Read first, and let's do that. Customers, comma.
So is
ID.
there a trick to connecting to a remote database, or a?
No, there is not. There is not. It's just that I don't know why it's not working now. And normally everything works until you start doing a webinar, and then it doesn't work.
So Andy says, okay, can I see the connect to database routine?
Yes. Okay, let's do
Chris
that.
says, are you sure you have the permissions? And I think you did. He says the error info will show the problem. Let's see.
Okay, so let's run that.
Okay, so Andy, that's the procedure right there. Let him see that. Okay, we got to slow down so you can see the screens. Okay, hold on. He says, do this. Can you see his notes on your other screen? Or I'll just keep reading it to you.
Okay, I can't see his notes on the other screen.
Don't worry, I will just tell you. He says he's typing right now. If not H connection, where do you want him to do this? Okay, you have that. Yeah,
H.
if you got to put an if not in front of that, and then you got to go error. Okay, do you have it? If not, H connection with it.
Connection.
Quote WX
Just hold
soap.
on. Uh,
It says on.
change connection.
It says on the
Change connection.
H open connection.
No, we've got H open connection is true. It comes back as a true.
Okay. But he says
Okay,
under the if not H connection, W soap in parentheses.
yes.
Then you put error parentheses error info quote quote paren, and then end.
Okay, we won't remember this is a web server. This is running on the web server. So what I will do, okay, I'll change this to a string, and then if okay, if not H open connection, then and what was his suggestion?
No results make a string. You can check the error also. Okay.
Okay, which one was that?
Error. Let me go back up there.
This open equals
error info.
Error info. Okay. Then equals.
It says no results make a string. Make the result a C string, I guess. You go, now the error will be in your results. You're fine. He says you're good.
No. Okay, else then after that we need to do a change connection. To that, so we say, and that also comes with a result true. So that also is if not change result, then this open equals change error plus, and we do the same with that, and we can do that as an open error, and that's a change error. And that's a change error, else okay, and let's do that. Okay, so we've got that result coming back. So let's go to our we've got two pluses there. Change error is change error plus.
Do you have a quote? No.
Okay. Error info. That's text. Say again. Okay. Error.
Just error info. Just take the
Yeah, I'm gonna just take that out
take the
there
error.
because it just needs error
Yeah.
info. Yeah. Error is
Take the
is
closing
something
paren
else.
too at the end of the.
Yeah. There we go. There we go. So now what we do is let's do this. Let's comment all of this again. Code comment out and then do a result there. So sorry, that's too far. Is string okay, and we do that. So let's upload that. Defensive programming.
Well, that's the only way to go, man.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, true. We've got a true coming back, which means that we are connected as far as I'm concerned.
What it looks like.
Okay, so let's just confirm that. That's a string. If we don't have an open error, then it falls through. And if we don't have a problem with the change connection, then it falls through, which returns a true. Okay, so our problem is lying somewhere with actually connecting to a table. Okay, so let's say read first, and let's go to the accounts table, and let's do that by account code. And then let's do that. Return value equals, let's take the accounts description. I sometimes do that. I double click on the things. Take the accounts description, and we will result the return value. Okay, so we say if it comes back as true, then we will fall through and look at the accounts table, the first record, and then return the value. So let's do that with
Hey,
our
Ben,
hyperfile
and
controls.
Andy says
Yes.
put a if read first equals -1, and then result error info.
Okay. Okay, I will do that now. Okay, so we're gonna connect
If
to
it
this
doesn't
one.
work.
Yes. And let's see if there's anything in that table. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's see what are false. Then we can actually do the same as what we did with this databases here.
Hey, he says it's don't use not if not must be equals -1.
Can he teach us quickly why that is?
It
If
returns a -1. So you want to test for -1 is what he's saying. 0 is false, -1 is like doesn't work.
okay, he wants us to test for a specific situation.
That it failed. Otherwise it's true or false,
Okay.
and we don't want true or false, we want failure. Is what I think he's telling us.
Okay, so let's quickly upload this. See how the most basic things can sometimes trip you up, eh?
Yeah, but once you get the basic stuff done and figured out, you got it for life.
Okay. No analysis opened. Accounts file not described.
Not described. Chris Gord says, could you use if H found or H out?
Okay, I've got a suspicion it's actually something else here. Let's go and do this. I'm actually gonna go and create a new database. Because I'm reusing some other analysis which might have a problem on it.
Like being out of sync?
Like being out of sync or something to that effect, yes. Okay, so let's go and create a new database here. Create a new database and we call it SOAP. Okay, and then we will go to our analysis, project description, and we will go to our analysis, create an analysis, we call it SOAP. And let's go and get a preset file, and we will get customers from that, and then we've got a customers file, and let's save that. And what we need to do here is what's that? Create create if not found. Create. Let's go to look at that code there.
And he basically said, it looks like you figured it out, no analysis being associated with it.
Yes, yes. For some reason, the analysis which we've selected to work with is not actually working with it.
Must be for something else or something.
Go to process, sorry, back. Go to process. F2. Okay. And we will then do a hcreate if not found, and then we will run with it. So then what we've got here is we need to kill this one. Project management, analysis, and we will work with the with the soap, the one that we created just now, WX soap. We will work with that one. The analysis we will work with is that one. Okay, let's close it and close that part of it. And interesting, can you see this analysis stays open here? Okay, let's close that in total, close that, and we change WINDEV. And we open the SOAP. Project description. Our analysis we're using is SOAP analysis. And then we go back to our global procedures. And if we go display toolbars, panes, analysis, there's our customer that we're working with. Okay. And we're going to synchronize the project, and there's our customer. So what we're going to do then is we retrieve that if that's not true. So we're going to do a let's do this. I'm going to take that code, put it there, comment it out, and we're going to say result return value equals h, the number of records for customer. Okay. Okay. And we will retrieve that, and there's 0 customers in that database.
Which is true.
So
it's empty, right?
Which is true. Yes, it's empty. So let's go and add some customers into that database. And it's very embarrassing and frustrating that we sat with this little problem, but also a good exercise.
Well, the thing is, a lot of times you find out that your data is the problem, not your programming. And
or the analysis attachment to the program and not the other way around. Okay, so let's go there. And why are we not seeing
WX soap? Where are you?
No, we should see soap. Just hold on. Did we change the connection here? There, that should say soap. Sorry, there we go. Forgot to change the database name. So let's go there, and we should see. Ah, interesting. So this user cannot connect to the SOAP database. Let's go and fix that.
Authorization, so rights.
Authorization, rights, yes. And that's the SOAP guy, and let's see.
So Chris says, so the issue was that the table needs to be in the analysis.
Well, our problem which we had was that the analysis that we attached to the application wasn't attached for some reason. And that meant that we needed to go and create a new analysis, and we attached the new analysis to the application, and then it worked.
And then Andy says, so far, with anything that cannot go through the project code, your analysis is not really associated. If you have to redefine the connection, you also need to assign the analysis.
And that is true. Okay, let's see here. Retrieve, and there we get 0 customers in our database. Now, if we go to our hyperfile control center and we connect to that database, which should happen soon. Okay, there's our customer table, and we've got 0 records in there. So let's go and add a record in here. So let's call it question 0 customer I. Okay. Ben 001, Ben Dell, whatever. Okay, and there's our first record. Okay, so instead of closing that again, let's go and run. Now I didn't keep the location of the SOAP server, so let's just upload it again quickly. It starts so fast uploading that could just as well upload it. So if we go and there we've got 1 customer in there. Okay, so I'm not going to kill that again, so let's do the following. Instead of doing that, we will do a read first customer by customer ID, and then we will do a result return value equals the customer's name or company name, or put it there. Okay, what's that? Why is it giving us that error? Come on.
Hey, Andy typed something on here. I don't know if this matters, but he says H open analysis parentheses quote the folder and then the WDD file, comma password in quotes close.
Okay, but that's only if you change your analysis. We've already got the analysis attached to the project, so we don't need to do that currently. But I totally agree with him. That would have been my next step, is to manually go and reassign the analysis to the project at runtime. But I don't think we need to do that now, because we've actually got it working here.
Yeah, you saw 1 record already.
Okay, see, there it brings me back. So what we've got here now is we've got the code which says read the first customer and return the company name. And what we got here is we are testing that, and it's bringing back the first customer on the company name. So what we've established now is it's sometimes very easy and sometimes very difficult to figure out why your connection to your database is not working. But for every single SOAP procedure, you need a connection to the database. The second thing, which we've obviously figured out now, is that you need to do defensive programming. You can't just assume everything's going to work. Okay. The third thing, which is very important, is the fact that WINDEV creates the WSDL file for you, which you can then use in other standard tools to create web services. And let's go to one of those standard tools quickly and load up this WSDL in one of those standard tools and do transactions with that. So one of the standard tools that we can use is something called SOAP UI. And I've discussed this previously in Clarion before. It's a method of importing a WDS file and then going and creating your Clarion or your non-WDS file aware environments, going creating your SOAP clients with that. Now, WINDEV is WSDL compliant and it's WSDL aware. So you pull your WSDL file directly into WINDEV or WebDev. In Clarion, you can't do that. You've got to manually go and create your messages. And that's what we're going to do now. As soon as this thing has established the connection to the internet and made sure that it told the owners that I'm using it, it will allow us to continue here. Okay, a new SOAP UI project, and let's call this SOAP, WX SOAP, and we're going to import the WSDL file, and this little file that WINDEV has published gives us the location of the WSDL file. So I'm just going to copy it there in the tools, and I'm going to paste it in here, and I'm going to not create any simulations. I'm just going to create sample requests. Okay, so what it's done now is it created a project for me in SOAP UI, and I can see all the methods which are available. Okay, so if I click, for instance, on retrieve customer list, then it shows me a SOAP packet which will be sent through to the server. And the important thing to remember here is this is a standard SOAP management tool, and it's working perfectly with the SOAP server published by WINDEV, which means in my books that WINDEV conforms to the SOAP standards. We can look at the XML file created here, and in this instance, because we have the server endpoint available, we can actually send a request through. So let's send a request through, and we can see the result that's come back from the server on this result page here. We can look at the raw result coming back, and we can look at the XML result coming back, and we can see that this is the SOAP packet coming back. So that's one way of testing to see what is happening with this SOAP server. So we've got two tools. We've got one tool which is PCSoft's own internal publication of the WSDL which it generates, and it allows you to test the WSDL and also view the WSDL, and then we can pull that same WSDL into a SOAP UI program which allows us to look at the actual SOAP packages, and this SOAP packages we need to be able to create a SOAP server client in, for instance, Clarion and NetTalk. Now, I don't think we're going to get time today due to the failure with the database we had to actually get to this. So I'm going to stop this part here and concentrate further on the WINDEV side and give you a few tips of things which I found out. One of the things you can do is you can go here and you can go and create for yourself structures which you're going to be working with. So let's say there is a return structure. Return structure is structure, and let's say first value is string on, let's say, 20, and second value is string on 10. Okay, so we're going to return 30 characters. Okay, that's a structure. Now what I'm going to do in my code here is I'm not actually going to return this. I'm going to say let's do this. My return structure is return structure, and then I'm going to say my return structure dot first, what's that one? First value, eh? First value dot first value equals company name, and my return structure dot second value equals test, and then my return value equals my return structure, and then I will return that value. There we go. Second value, my return structure. There we go. So just forgive the spelling mistakes. So that is what now I'm going to get a structure back and not just a single value. So let's see what we're getting back here. And one of the things I can do here is return the actual structure and not some other value. Okay, so there we go. So now I'm returning a structure and not a string. Okay, so let's compile that and upload that to our server. And if we retrieve that list, Customer list response hasn't returned our value. Okay. My return structure is return structure. And if we go to our SOAP server and we update the definition, and we go and we run this again. Okay, then we've got, for some reason, we've got another little issue. Okay, so we go to structures, return structure, it's a structure, first value, second value, and it's a string on 10 and a string on 20. Okay, my return structure is return structure. My return structure dot first value equals that, and my return structure dot second value equals that, and I will result my return structure. And we go and we load that up to our server. And let's see if that new structure has been uploaded to our database. And we go and we update our definitions, and we go and test that, and for some reason we're sitting with the same problem. It's not returning the structure. If we go and do that string and we go and update that, because at the end of the day, all that a SOAP server does is it just returns a string. So there's a few other issues which is involved, like for instance, this is not the ANSI string, but that's outside the scope of what we are trying to do here. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. The fact of the matter is that you could create a structure and work with a structure and convert the structure to the correct format to return it. Yes, I think we are out of time here. Is that not true?
I gave you to 8:30, but it's up to you.
Oh, you gave me to 8:30. Yeah. Okay, okay. So we've got some time to play with the structure part. Yeah. Okay, so let's do that. Let's get the structure sorted out. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy from a structure which has already been created. Okay, so we will go there and we will say global procedures, declaration of global procedures. We will say we've got a structure and this first value is a string and the second value is a string. And then what we will do is we will go to our procedure and we will go and do a read first. Now, something which has bothered me here. Let's get rid of this. So what we did in the other side is let's define it here. My return, my local return structure is return structure. Okay, so my local return structure dot first value equals, and my local return structure dot second value dot second value equals test, and that is customer dot that company, and then we will result my local return value. Okay, so I suspect what I did wrong here is I created a local variable with the same name as the global structure, and it got confused. Okay, let's go and test that. Which is obviously a error which I make a lot. I define a variable and then I create a local variable with the same name as a different variable, and then it obviously doesn't work for me. And for some reason I'm still not getting what I'm wanting. So let's just firstly see my local structure is return structure. My first value is customer.company. My second value is test. And let's see how I've done it in the other sides. And I've just resulted that. My contractor group is contractor group. Contractor group is a structure. And we've got everything that is a structure. And it's a string on 20, and that's a string on 10, and that is the end. Okay, I don't see any issues here. If anybody else can see an issue, I'd appreciate it. But I don't see any specific issue here which is stopping this from working. Anybody?
Andy says, hang on.
Take that one out. The one thing I do know, and that's been confirmed by PCSoft, is that we cannot return an associative array. We can return a normal array, but we cannot turn an associative array.
Where's the structure?
Okay, the structure is there. Let's just get rid of all of this information here.
Chris basically says, could you put the associative array in the parameter in the procedure?
There's no associative array
You
here.
just have a structure.
We cannot. Yeah, we've just got a normal structure, and then we create a local structure based on that structure. And then what we do is we're filling that local structure. And if we do a filling of the local structure without reference to the database,
Andy's asking, what's your error?
the error is that there's nothing coming back. So what we're doing is we're going to just return the local structure before we try and connect to the database again. So let's quickly get that up and running.
Andy said, is it empty? I think no.
Yeah, it's coming back empty. So let's do that and say retrieve that, and it's coming back empty. So what it means is it's not doing a result on our structure. Okay. As an example that this does work, so it's something that I'm doing wrong. Here's an example of what does work. I, for instance, went and created, let's call this a contractor group, which is a structure, which is quite an involved structure compared to what we are currently working with. And then I've got a method called getInfo, where I'm actually filling that and it's returning that information to me. So the fact that it's actually returning a structure does work. I suspect we are sitting here with a problem in the specific application. The same as that we had the analysis problem, we're sitting with some other type of problem here. So I think we should stop the recording here. We've defined the fact that you can create a SOAP server with WINDEV. We publish the SOAP server. It creates a WSDL file for us. We can use industry standard tools like SOAP UI to read the WSDL file and see the messages which we should be sending through and return the messages coming back, which allows us to look at what's happening in there. We can also use tools like Fiddler, and I'm not sure how many people know Fiddler. Fiddler is a tool that does HTTP traffic capturing. So if I go and I publish this, and I run the procedures here, I can go to the tool Fiddler and it will show me the raw information going to the server and the raw information coming back. So if we look at that, we can have a nice let's do a web view of it. There's a web view. And there's the raw view of the data coming back. And with this, we can test to make sure that everything that we are actually doing, sending through to the back end, is actually correct. We can have a look at the headers of the actual file, of the actual messages going through. The difference between this tool called Fiddler and the tool called SOAP UI. SOAP UI is only concerned with the actual message, the actual data going forwards and backwards between the server and the client. Where with SOAP UI, which is very important to us as Clarion programmers, is the fact that it also looks at the HTTP header, because some of this information we need to put into Clarion, into NetTalk, for it to know where the server is and what it should be doing with that server.
I put the links up on Skype, and I added Charles also, which is a web debugging proxy.
Yes. Yes. Any case, so at this point I think my very carefully worked out presentation just fell off the tracks due to 2 errors, but we still got to the end result. We got a SOAP server developed in WINDEV to work. We can connect to it, we can retrieve data from it, and we can check with industry standard tools that it's actually working correctly and it's working according to what the rest of the industry wants. And I think that's the very important part. After this, obviously it's up to every developer to make sure that his stuff works and that it works correctly, and that's what they get paid the big bucks for. Okay, I don't think there's much we can do now other than sitting and debugging why these errors occur, and I think that's going to be a waste of time for most people.
Okay, so we'll do that offline.
Yes, we can do that offline.
Okay, so I am going to, there's questions here. Do you want to, what is the benefit?
Yes, let's take questions.
What is the benefit of returning the structure?
Okay, obviously the benefit of returning the structure is that on the Clarion side, and let me quickly open up an example Clarion here, and I've got permissions from the owners of this product to actually use this as an example here. On the Clarion side, if I go and look at retrieving messages, if I don't have a structure, I get one single text string coming back. But when I get a structure, I can do the following. I can go and define a group within Clarion, and if you will notice, this group in Clarion is very similar to this contractor group which we've got here. It's got the role, action, error code, number, company name, what, and in Clarion we've got role, action, error, number, company name, what. Precisely the same group. So in Clarion we've got a group, in WINDEV we've got a structure. When we return the structure for the SOAP server, in Clarion all we need to do on receiving a page is we need to know what we are receiving, and for that I use the role parameter to say if it's contract information, claims, schemes, products, whatever coming back. And then if it's contract information, then I will obviously go to that specific process and I will say my with X files, my contracted group, my group I've created here, needs to be filled in from the string which we received from the web server. That string is a XML file. If you send the structure through from the SOAP server, it comes to the client as an XML file, and with X files we do a XML load of the structure coming from the web server into the group on our Clarion side, and we can address our group directly. Like for instance, my table name is that group dot that field. That table's field is that group dot that field. And that's the reason why I return a structure from the web server and not just a string. Does that answer the question? Hello? I haven't got Skype.
Oh, here. I'm sorry, I was on mute.
Okay. So does that answer the question of why return a structure?
He says, no, I mean as opposed to having the structured data in the parameters of the procedure, returning as in a result statement and having the procedure doing it. Procedure get cust data paren cust data equals cust data struct.
Okay, maybe I'm not totally understanding him. Let's go there to that server. So
Let's see if
what is different. I'm creating a structure there.
Chris, do you have a mic? Headset? Or maybe Andy, Andy?
Yeah.
I will hook it up. Okay. Andy's typing.
Okay, so...
Oh, here, Andy says, cannot reference in memory. So using that type of call cannot be done in web services. You can't be doing that in web services is what it's saying.
Oh, so what Chris asked for. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm not totally sure what the answer there is, but it sounds like what Chris is asking for is something that's being done in memory, and Andy's saying that cannot be done like that.
Yeah, that's basically what it says. Okay, he's mic.
A lot of the things.
Let me turn on his mic so that audio.
Okay, a lot of the things that we always assume to work and which always does work because PCSoft takes care of it for us during the runtime, does actually not exist when we're working with these types of web services or even web pages or active WINDEV web applications. And there's a lot of stuff that we've got to take into account, which are everything of this is one-shot static stuff. You know, there's no continuity. It's you connect to a web service, you tell it what it should do, it connects to the database, it does what you want it to, and it disconnects, and it doesn't exist after that.
Andy says web services pass and return data, not reference past parameters. And then Chris...
Yes, okay, that makes sense, yes.
And then Chris says the result is going directly to the web, question mark. And Chris is not answering a calling procedure. Chris, and then Andy says correct.
Yes, okay.
Well, we got to have more mics.
Any other questions around it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else regarding what I've demonstrated here?
I don't think so. So let's just stop the record. Let's see. It might be simpler with a request handler that calls the data getters. And he says you're basically calling like a web page, right? So, so Andy says yes to.
Well, it's basically a web page, yes. Yes. But at the end of the day, you still need to write a procedure which gets the data and does a result to return that to the client that's calling. And it doesn't matter what your result, as long as it's something which can be transformed into an XML file by the web server part. And that's the important thing to remember. And I think that maybe that's one of the issues we're sitting with here, is your structure going back from this as a result needs to be able to transform into an XML structure which the web server sends back to the client.
And Chris says, now I see what you were getting done. Okay.
Okay, and let's quickly get back to this other one. You see here, and this one works perfectly. We are filling in a structure here with information, and we are doing a result on that structure. And on the client side, we are doing an XML load of that result into a group. And that group in our Clarion instance has got precisely the same declaration as what the structure has on the server side. So with a single call on the Clarion side, we've taken everything which we get from the server and we've loaded it into our Clarion group, and we can do with it whatever we want to. And obviously we can do the same with an array. Then on the Clarion side, we wouldn't be loading it into a group, but we would be loading it into a queue. If we send an array from the server side, we load that into a queue on the Clarion side. Like for instance, all the records that is available in a specific table.
So you got Chris all excited about using WB now.
Yes, sorry for the problems that popped up here. There's lots of variables for that, and I think 90% of the problems is me myself. And the rest are all my development environment, and not talking about WINDEV or WebDev, but the fact I've moved to Clarion 8, Windows 8, and I've put a new server on, Server 2011, and things are still sorting themselves out.
Hey, Frank asked earlier, he says, are you posting the code? I guess you can almost, it's not that much code.
What I will do is I will make the code work first, okay, and then I will give the code to you to post, so that there's definitely code that works on a single string and code that works on a structure, and I will make sure that I get that working over the weekend and get that through to you.
Perfect. Yeah. You send it to me, I'll just post it up. Sounds like a winner.
Okay.
Thank you again, Ben.
Thank you
so much. And
thank you for everybody who attended.
Alrighty, I'm going to stop the recording now. Everybody have a great weekend.